YouTube, what's up? It's your Resin 3D printing god, back again with our review of the Kelant S400. So what's up, everybody's? Yes, so Kelant sent us this printer quite a while ago to check out. I will let you guys know, unfortunately, because it's such an older technology printer, there is no links that I can give you that you guys can currently buy this. But if you happen to stumble across one and you're interested in getting into resin printing, well, maybe this review will give you a little bit of insight on what you're getting yourself into. So first and foremost, I wanted to let everybody know, if you guys don't know who Kelant is, Kelant basically manufactures quite a few printers for essentially a lot of the large manufacturers that you guys know and love. More specifically, Elegoo. Yes, that is correct. So if anybody knows anything about Kelant and Elegoo, their cooperation together, essentially their contracts, whatever you want to call it, Kelant originally had this printer out here and marketed this is the S400s specifically. And if you guys do or do not know or look back in old reviews of the original Saturn, the Elegoo Saturn that came out, that's what that printer is based off of, is this Kelant S400. So the original models came with a 2K RGB screen, and that's essentially what this printer has. Then they updated the model to a Kelant S500, which essentially became the Saturn that we all know and love today. That is a 4K monochrome screen, which is an 8.9 inch. So they did do some minor upgrades here and there. And essentially, all of the Kelant products that you can research or whatnot, you can see there's very similarities to a lot of the Elegoo products. This one is still an older version, but some of the ones you can see where they have the same type of bed leveling system that they have on the Elegoo printers, and a lot of the parts are pretty much the same. So, but like I said, Kelant used to make a lot of the printers and sell them as Kelant printers branded on the market. I'm not even sure if Kelant is still around today. They might have been absorbed or rebranded as Elegoo. I'm not 100% sure. I haven't really looked into it in a long time, to be in all honesty. But I know that trying to find Kelant printers on the market are very, very hard. I do have another one back there. I believe it's called the C60, which essentially is the Elegoo Mars 3. It is the exact same printer, just minus the upgraded 4K screen. It is a 2K screen. So it's made to be a lot cheaper. I think at the time I was buying them, it was around $125 to buy one of those, whereas the Elegoo Mars was almost double that. So anyway, let's get back to talking about this printer. This printer has been kind of so-so. It's not the greatest of printers because, like I said, it is older technology. So instead of, most of the printers that you guys would see on my channel here have monochrome screens. That means it is a black and white screen. They print about twice as fast, if not 3 times faster, depending on what type of resin you have. Whereas this one, we're usually printing at about 6 to 10 seconds per layer. And then we have a base layer of about 50 to 60 usually. So like I said, it's about double, if not triple the print time for these type of printers. And that doesn't mean that we can't make them fast and set up faster profiles for it if you do happen to get one of these printers. But just know that if you are looking at getting one of these printers, know that it is older technology. So, trying to print at, really, really fast speed, like most of the printers that you see in the background here, that's probably not going to happen. We can get close, but it's still, by a mile. But anyway, so we have got some prints here that I did print on the Kelant here. And I just wanted to kind of show you guys off the ridiculous build plate here. This is a hefty build plate. So again, if you guys are looking to buy this printer, just know that this build plate weighs quite a lot compared to any of the other printers. I probably put it even a heavier build plate than like the whatchamacallit, the AnyCubic M3 Max there. So just know that um, if you are looking to get a larger printer, this is going to be kind of a comparable build plate weight, if that really matters to you. Anyway, I'm kind of rambling on here. So let's get to some of the prints that I printed off here. So one of the prints that I'm going to show you guys is essentially a what they call like a shadow box. It's a lithophane that you put a light inside of, and essentially it burns out the four corners. And this was made by a fellow friend, Matt German, or Tactile 3D. And he made this of my logo, and essentially I printed it. Again, we're not going to be able to really show off how it looks because I unfortunately don't have any like usable flashlights around here. I need to get a new one because my last one literally just died 2 days ago. But essentially, if you put a light behind this, it will shine through and you can basically see what the image is. There, you can kind of see a little bit with the light coming down here what it looks like. But it did come out very, very nice. And we essentially just printed this straight up and down on the printer. So you will see some, some layer lines on the inside there, which was to be expected. But all in all, I'm very, very happy and surprised how this came out. I was kind of worried that this wasn't even going to work, or it was just going to have some major line shifting on it. But essentially, it was a very, very nice print. Here's another one that we printed a little while ago on the AnyCubic, or I'm sorry, the Frozen Sonic Mega 8K. And I wanted to try and redo it and make the print a little bit better. I did do a little bit of sanding, so we have to do some cleanup here. But I did notice that this resin that we used was kind of an older resin, and this is Yamcha from Dragon Ball Z. And he has a single solid print on his bust and everything, and it came out pretty well. I'm very, very happy with the details on that, even though, like I said, it's kind of an older style printing, where we're printing at slower speeds. Now, the thing that I was really, really nice on, unfortunately, that just fell, and it broke into about a million pieces with it because it's just standard resin. But we do have some of the pieces here that I can kind of show off. But this little like golem looking guy, I don't really know who he is or where he's from. It was just some files that I had on my printer. But if I happen to find out who they're made by, and I'll link them down below. But essentially, that's what it is. And he's supposed to have like this long staff with a essentially like a crucifix type thing, and he like bludgeons people, that type of thing. So we didn't really do too much major printing on here because, well, again, it's slower printing. So for me to utilize this isn't the greatest in what I do for a daily process. But again, if you guys are looking to get into resin printing, this is a pretty good starter printer. And most of the parts that you can find that are on like the Elegoo are pretty much interchangeable. Now, saying that, excuse me, looking into upgrading the LCD, there is a possibility that you can upgrade the LCD to this to match the Elegoo. So essentially, you can take all of the Elegoo products and put them in here from the Saturn. The problem is the 8.9-inch screen that's inside of this unit is slightly different sizing than the 8.9-inch that is in the Elegoo Saturn. Now, you can contact Shi2Box if you want to see about upgrading things, but I'm pretty sure you have to mill out the LCD area to upgrade that to a 4K. But once you do that, it's smooth sailing. All of the parts that you can use on a Elegoo Saturn will be able to be used on a Kelant S400. They are literally interchangeable. So, like I said, even if you were to like upgrade the build plate on this, you could do anything you want. But in my opinion, this build plate is better than the Elegoo ones because, as you guys may have heard me talk about, the Elegoo has an issue where it's a pop socket style. It locks into a ball. So it essentially has a screw here and then a screw on the front to keep it locked into place to keep it from wiggling around. Now, me personally, in my experience with the Elegoo products, is when I'm going to remove prints, they do tend to loosen over time. And it's a short period of time, like probably every 5 to 7 prints it would do that. And then after, maybe the 10th time that I had to redo it, it started becoming a problem where the printer couldn't stay level. So we had to essentially rotate the build plate 180 degrees to put that new side of a ball socket on the build plate so it can tension it down. Whereas this one has a 4-point leveling system. This is a far superior leveling system, and that's pretty much what all of my printers have is a 4-point leveling system. I don't have anyone now that has a pop socket system just because it's a nightmare to keep them leveled. And I just need something that is consistently good to go and I don't have to worry about it. Once these type of build plates are leveled, I will be honest, I've never re-leveled them ever again unless I know I have to change something major. I'm, taking the entire linear rails apart and doing some major overhauling. That is the only time that I will re-level, and it's just a precaution out of anything. I've never had to re-level a 4-point leveling system just out of spite of wear and tear, essentially. Unlike the old Anycubic and the Elegoo products. But that's pretty much it. We do have a little bit of fan on here. It is not anything that's like a filtered fan. It does have a carbon sheet on it, but I'll be honest, that doesn't do anything. It's kind of like, you having a mask that has a breathing socket on it. Essentially, it works, but not to the point where it's going to keep anything bad that you're spitting out inside there. So that's essentially kind of what it does. It's just kind of like it doesn't work the way that it's supposed to be intended to. So you can essentially upgrade that or get one of those uh, battery powered filtration systems and utilize that inside here. Because I will say one of the nicer parts about this is a fully enclosed unit and is a front door unit, which is really, really nice because in my opinion, when you start going from a smaller machine to a bigger machine, having these big lift off lids is really a pain in the neck. It's one of my biggest pet peeves, and I know I'm not the only person that has that issue, but it's just the fact that when you start getting to machines that are this big, you don't want to have another big piece to be setting over there. Most of the time, people will set them up and then they have like a piece that'll hold it and hang it up in the air or they'll mount it on the wall. That's perfectly fine. But for this is nice because it's all in one piece and you just have this nice little hardware door that essentially has like cabinet hardware on it. That's what it is. So even though it's kind of a cheaper printer, it's got a little bit of nice hardware when you set everything up. Now, when you start putting it together, I will say it does feel a little bit of cheapy. But once it's all set and ready to go, these are all metal frames on here. So this is a very, very sturdy system. So if you're worried about anything happening, and essentially this is very, very dark tinted. So, you can probably be okay having this by some sort of a light source or a window. I don't suggest it, but you can probably get away with it just because of how dark it is, and you'd be all right. So again, if you guys are looking for a printer like this and you happen to come across the Kelant S400 or even the S500 variant, which is essentially the same thing, it's a little bit different hood style. But again, the internals are exactly the same as like a Elegoo Saturn. So you can essentially upgrade it and do some tinkering. If you guys are out there that want to tinker with the resin printer, this is a great printer to do that with. But unfortunately, like I said, there's not really any place that I know of that you can currently buy these, at least brand new. So if you are looking for them, most likely you're going to find them out in the wild. They're going to be used, most likely abused, just because, like I said, this is older technology, so this has an RGB screen. So these only last, geez, it's been a while since I've had to do some specs on RGB screens. I want to say it was like 600 printing hours, and it's that LCD is supposed to be toast. Now, I pushed a printer well beyond that. I've had almost like 3,000 hours on a RGB screen, but that's a printer that is far better than any of the printers that I have here, and that's my Box, which is hiding right behind this printer. Um, but yeah, essentially, most of these LCD RGB screens are supposed to only last around 600 hours, give or take. You can probably get away with a couple hundred more, depending on how good you are with your printing. But that's kind of like pushing the envelope at its very toughest. So, but yeah, that's pretty much it. Again, I will leave the links down for some of the models that I had if I find them, and get you guys all set up. If I do happen to find a link where you guys can purchase this, I will put it up there. I know it's not available on Amazon anymore, and neither is the S500. So at least, if anything, I can probably link the S500 because that might be a little bit more of a better investment for you if you're looking for a cheaper printer. But I will let you know the last time that I saw a price on this, they were going for about $300 brand new. Now, again, that was before, AnyCubic decided to bring all their prices down, and you can get a Mono X for, $300 now. This was back when they were still $600-700 for a Mono X. So again, if you can try and find these, if you're going to find them used, I would say no more than $100 on them, no matter how many print hours, how good it is. Even if it's brand new in box, 120 at the very max at a brand new, never touched one. That should be your absolute max on this, just because, like I said, it is older technology. So, trying to find replacement parts for it are going to be very hard to do that. And essentially, when you do have to replace something like a screen, most likely you're going to have to either try your hand at milling this out, sending it to somebody who can mill it out, and then at that point, you're good as golden. You can essentially have any part from the Elegoo Saturn models and replace anything in this printer with that, and you essentially have a fancier looking Saturn, in my opinion. So that's up to you. I hope you guys like the review. If you got any questions, comments, concerns, go ahead and leave them down below, and I will try and get back to you with any answers that you possibly need. Yeah, until next time, guys, happy printing.